A couple years ago, the community schools was brought up here a couple times tonight. I will just go on record that I am adamantly opposed to community schools, and I will say I was on the board when it was brought up years ago, and it sounded wonderful, but I actually look back and I think, man, we dodged a bullet, because me as one board member, I fundamentally believe in limited government, and ultimately at the heart of it, it really does strengthen more of a government school component, but that's the center of all services. But at the end of the day, I think that we have seen a massive shift, even just the last 2 years, where we're getting refocused back on the core competency of of the school district, which is education. And when you start to peel back too many, try to be all things to all people, you're going to come up short. And our job is too important when it comes to educating the students. We are fortunate to have great community partners, but there's a role and a place and location for them to play. So I just want to be on record. That's where I stand. And then I know it was brought up about the immigration. So I will say I've talked to our local sheriff, I've talked to lots of lawmakers, I've talked to different people at different levels of government when it comes to this. I will say personally, there's a lot of minced words, and we, as the superintendent said and was reiterated again, the practice has always been and shall stay the same, unless I'm misunderstanding. Anytime law enforcement is to come onto our site, we have a practice and a protocol, and nothing has changed. If we have criminals that are students, and take out any legal status, if there is a student that has been, there are third-party law enforcement agencies that will come on. I mean, that can happen, and there is a protocol to practice, and we're not going to put up barriers. And I want to be very clear, like, we better not be building up additional unnecessary barriers that wouldn't have been there before. So I just think there's an emotional aspect to this, and I think that there's that vision of we're having, raids. That's not happening. But I do believe that if there were to be someone, just as was the case a year ago or 2 years ago, if there was a student that was charged with some kind, and I'll look over to our expert over here, when it comes to any kind of criminality or being charged that practice would be remaining the same. I do not want anyone to think that criminals have safe harbor at our schools, period, at all. And so I want to make it crystal clear that my expectation is that there is no change and that we are following the exact protocol that we were before. Because I think that there's a lot of emotion in this aspect, and I can understand it. And there's a lot of, there may very well be some very challenging situations, and I don't diminish it. But at the end of the day, we cannot have criminals on our campus, and we will work with law enforcement just as we always have. And the immigration status has absolutely nothing else to do with it. So I just wanted to go state that, and I think I covered all of the items that I wanted to go through. So thank you.